cup is so dirty. And the pill all 30. I don't know which one you working. I don't know which one you working. But we know fake when we see it. We know hate when we see it. We know fake when we see it. We know hate when we see it. My double cup is so dirty. And the pill all 30. I don't know which one you working. I don't know which one you working. But we know hate when we see it. We know fake when we see it. We know hate when we see it. We know fake when we see it. We know these niggas so hoes. I ain't faking no more. I ain't keeping no secrets. I'ma let the world know. Since these niggas behind, niggas gon' get exposed. I ain't talking no deuces, so please do not call my phone. I'ma fuck all that hoes. That's my actors, we know. Then take out a 1 liter, then we put us a 4. I had the bitch at the spot. I made her take off her clothes. I got some bros and no. And they from how they grow. I'ma call up Trey One, and he gon' fuck up the stove. You a jockey, my nigga. I know you play with your. Hey y'all, what's going on? How y'all doing tonight? Cuz I got my motherfucking cuz in the building. Hey, Lakita. What's up? What's up? What's up? Hi, Adrian. How y'all feeling tonight? Talk to me. Talk to me. And I didn't want to stay too long. You know, I want to make this video kind of succinct and to the point, but you see the title, so you know why we here, okay? Because for a good little minute, I didn't have my eyes on this motherfucking melted Tootsie Roll ass nigga, Terry Crews. And the irony in all of the negative press that he's been receiving lately is the fact that, like, I actually used to like him. And I guess I still do, because we can have that conversation in terms of separating the art from the artist. He's an actor, of course, for those of you guys who may not be familiar. And basically, he's been very vocal in countering the Black Lives Matter movement for reasons that we'll definitely get into from an astrological perspective. Because, you know, before I looked into his natal chart, I was kind of curious, like, what? I'm a little confused. He actually came out, I mean, with a series of tweets, but one tweet in particular that he put out on Twitter. He said something to the effect of, like, yeah, we don't want racism, right? But we need to be mindful of Black supremacy. And everybody was like, Black supremacy? Is that a thing, Terry, or did you just make that up? You just made that shit up. And I don't even like using the Coon word, because I do think it's overly used, right? And it's very subjective, because the Black community can't, as a collective, y'all know we can't agree on shit. And there is no one definition of what it means to be a coon, I feel, because different people use it in different ways. So let's go ahead and define the term here before we even proceed. So when I say coon, I mean a person who is willing to sabotage altruistic efforts made by people who look like them, specifically like Black people, right? They're willing to sabotage the greater movement for equal rights, fair treatment, by pandering to the gaze of the majority, or pandering to the even the emotions and the appeal of, like, white people and whiteness, right? Because a lot of what he would say would say things that very much reflect the narrative. Well, you know, we need checks and balances, which keep that. I need to write that down, because that phrase checks and balances is going to come up within the reading. A lot of his placements are going to make that the reason why he even said that in the first place makes sense. Hold on, let me write it down so I won't forget. Checks and balances with your bitch ass. Okay, so Yeah, he would say stuff like, "Oh, we need checks and balances, and what black people are going to run amok," and it's just like, and you could tell he's directly speaking to that fear, this thought process that certain white people, most white people probably have in terms of being afraid of black people, right? Or even equivocating black movements to like white supremacy, like they're both equal. Well, the opposite of white supremacy is black supremacy. Nah, nigga, the opposite of white supremacy is just like regular life in fairness and equity. There's no such thing as black supremacy. So, I mean, in order for black supremacy to exist, like we literally would have to strip away the entire context of our history, which is impossible. It's impossible. And I mean, I understand everybody isn't a scholar. I'm not a scholar per se, but I want to believe that he's being willfully ignorant on the matter, and he's just being kind of like a pawn. And so once again, when I actually looked at his natal chart, there were certain things that made his stance make sense. Not in terms of me agreeing with it, but it's just like, oh, that's what that is. Okay. The title took me out on my nerves. All this retrograde energy got me all over the place. Listen, you are not alone. I am here with you. I'm trying to tell you, it got me fucked up big time. Big time. Hey, Tico. You would think he'd be quiet after so much criticism. Well, he's a Leo, so he probably won't. He probably won't. And although Leos do enjoy, for the most part, like they crave good attention, positive reinforcement. Like I said, he has other places in his chart, or placements rather, that will put things into context. When a majority of white people have to start agreeing with you over your black issues, you have to say exactly, because it's like, when in the history of niggerdom, right? In the history, just even outside of the scope of black issues or issues within the black diaspora, just within history in general, when has the oppressed or the underclass had to, like, when were they able to negotiate and will and deal their way out of oppression? When has that been done? Being respectable and polite and fair. When has that really kept a group from being oppressed? Like, that doesn't make sense. You fucking coon. There's no other word to describe it. Hey, Scorpio forever. How you doing, baby? What about his constant flip-flop? What did he flip-flop on? I mean, yeah, we'll get into it. It sounds about right looking at his chart, but what was it that he flip-flopped on? Terry Crews he's always rubbed you the wrong way. The chest pumping irks. I never like when niggas do that titty thing. Hey, y'all, make sure y'all hit that like button on your way in, too. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. But that's true. That's kind of weird. It's been kind of weird to me. So with that being said, let's see. When we get these likes up, I'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, I don't want to take too long. And in the meantime, I will be pulling up his natal. Good old cosmic fingerprint. We can get some started. You maintaining. I understand. Me too. I'm maintaining out here. Uh, I just been tired. Like I've been really, really tired. Really tired. And the Mercury retrograde is transiting my south node of Cancer. So my moods have been all over the place. My emotions have been out of whack. I've just been really I just been all over the place. I've been a hysterical hot mess. Sleep. Hey Anel. Hi 16. Asme Audrey. Hey baby. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. What else been popping lately? Yeah, tell your screen. Yeah. Boom. Boom. I've been thinking about you and was wondering if you were going through them. Oh, thank you for thinking of me, Scorpio. I have. But in my the video before last, when I was talking about the 15, or no, it was 10. I'm lying, y'all. The 10 little known facts about me. It may not be that little known, but I've always spoken out about having bipolar depression. So, there will be instances where it may seem like I'm kind of inconsistent. That in tandem to all of the other roles and things that I have to do, work and outside of work, I got to explain to y'all. Everybody, we're all just trying to do the best we can. Everybody wears multiple hats, right? We're trying to juggle it out, balance it out. That is life. That is life. Sometimes life whoop my ass. Sometimes, I come back with them hands. That's just how I work. But lately, this bitch been fucking me up. She was fucking me up. Like, damn, girl, you got hands. Thank you so much for the love. Okay. So as you can see, we got Mr. Terry Crews here. Y'all, one more time, don't forget to hit that like button on your way in for those of y'all who are just now joining. Terry Crews, right? The actor was born on July 30th, 1968 in Flint, Michigan. I didn't know he was from Flint. Okay. So first things first, I do want to address the Coon because as the title of this video suggests, we want to talk about or discuss the idea of him being courageous or a coon. Now, one of the biggest things that I noticed in terms of a placement in his chart that pointed towards his current actions and stances is the fact that he's a Libra moon. Now, we don't know his exact time of birth, right? That's nowhere on the site. However, we can still deduce that he is a Libra moon, and it may or may not be conjunct his Libra South node. Either way, Libra moon, Libra South node absolutely produces a person who can straddle the fence. Okay, these are people who tend to make a lot of enemies because they can't choose a side. And that's exactly what he's doing, right? You got the white people, or white, maybe not necessarily white people, but white America, white supremacy, and then he has his black fan base or his black audience, and he does not want to just come out and say, hey, Black Lives Matter, period, in the sentence. Racism is wrong, period, in the sentence. He does this little, and maybe because somebody mentioned and they use the phrase flip-flopping, this absolutely deals with him flip-flopping and being very much back and forth, and that is a huge trait of dark-sided Libras, and especially dark-sided Libra South nodes. These are motherfuckers who could not just be straight up and straightforward and make a concrete decision, take a concrete stance on anything if their life depended on it. And it is kind of like a catch-22, because there is this intrinsic fear of conflict, or this intrinsic like apprehension towards doing things and saying things that you feel like could bring conflict your way. But in efforts to avoid that, that's exactly what the fuck you create for yourself, because now you got both people on each side, or the people who really felt like you had your allegiance, you know, that they had an allegiance to you, which in his case would be the Black community, right? You've been in all the Chitlin Circuit movies, my nigga. Like, we done supported you. Like, you know, Black people kind of view. That's why I said I really fucked with Terry Crews at one point. He was like, you know, like even on, what was it, Next Friday or something like that, where he was like the gay ex-convict, and Everybody Hates Chris. Like, that was one of the favorite roles, my favorite roles that he's had. It Stomp the Yard, White Chicks, so on and so forth, right? But you do all of this, and then when actual real life issues arise that impact the demographic that supports you and watches your movies with you pumping your chest, now it's like, okay, well, both sides are equal, right? And that's that Libra thing, right? That being overly concerned with fairness and equality for equality's sake. But in trying to equate, like I said, Black supremacy, quote unquote, with white supremacy, you overlook hundreds and hundreds of years of, documented evidence that shows, though these two things, like apples to oranges, honey, apples to oranges, one thing is not like the other. You lack that type of understanding. Clearly, you don't have the range. Shut the fuck up. Another manifestation of this Libra South Node, or potentially even having his moon conjunct this Libra South Node, could deal with him being a devil's advocate. Okay, so these are people who can, once again, kind of get off on voicing and vocalizing the countering opinion. Okay, and kind of even taking on this persona as like the rival. You know, they can rival certain people and counter, like these are professional counter arguers, if that's not a word, but I just made it up. You know, it's like counterculture. They love that counter shit, and that's exactly what he's doing. It could also even point towards him being a pushover, somebody who just tries to keep the peace for peace sake, and someone who tries to make everyone comfortable. Tying it back into what I was saying about having an inability to pick a side, right? You can't please everybody. So if you can't please everybody, just do what the fuck you want to do, and then let whoever gets upset get upset. It could also even deal with him playing like respectability politics, as Libra is very big on decorum, right? Whereas that Aries North Node is a person who maybe activates and plays out that Aries North Node energy, is a person who has come to terms with this idea of, okay, well, you know, fuck what it looks like. If it's important enough to you, and if you're passionate enough about it, do it, say it, stand on that shit. It is what it is. Libra South Nodes are like, no, it gotta, y'all, this don't look good. Y'all making us look bad. Nah, y'all, this is why they don't respect us. Nah, because Master said we need to stop. What about black on black? Y'all stop it. We gotta be polished and mature. We gotta be refined for these good white people. Y'all doing too much. That's that energy. And he definitely gives me that. He gives me that type of tea. And that's definitely another attribute of that Libra South Node. This could also even deal with him being, and note that I said pay very close attention to the phrase that he used in one of his tweets, which was checks and balances. Libra is the sign of checks and balances. That's why he's so concerned with everything, like I said, being on an even keel and, okay, well, this checks out and, okay, this person agrees with that person and I need to agree with this side and then agree with that side and everybody, like, ain't no checks and balances when it comes to this, Terry. You pick a side. It is what it is. Or you just finna catch all of this smoke. And also, even in terms of him being a pushover, I wouldn't be surprised if his wife wore the pants in the family, which is very interesting considering that he's a Leo. And if you guys know anything about that Leo energy, Leo is one of the most, I would even call them like one of the most misogynistic signs of the zodiac. Very brash, very mannish, very like, I mean, it's literally the governing or the governing sign of the fifth house, right? Leo is governed by Sun, which is the ultimate masculine archetype. So it is very much machismo and yeah, I'm a man, man. But, however, his sun is at that 7th degree. And the number 7 does deal, I mean, the number 7 can weaken anything that it touches. It makes him very, very sensitive. That's one of the things that makes him sensitive. As you can probably see, hold on, let me go back over here. Can y'all see? Yeah, y'all can see that. His Mercury is actually conjunct his Mars in Cancer. That's another aspect that can definitely make him very, very sensitive, giving me very much female bitch made type of tea. You know what I mean? Excuse me. But taking it back to his lunar nodal placements, as an Aries North Node, like I said, time out too. That Libra South Node could also even deal with him being or like allowing himself to be molested and assaulted by another grown ass man, like as an adult. Because tying it back to this thing of not wanting to make a stir, not wanting to make a ruckus, not wanting to be, kind of even feeling uncomfortable. Because you can look at that Aries North Node energy. Most of us do feel uncomfortable when we're embodying the traits of our North Node, if we're not really disciplined. And if, especially early on in life, depending on when this infraction happened. So, you can look at that as him being like, well, I know he just grabbed my nuts in public, but, and my wife right here, but I don't really want to, whatever. Because even the answer that he gave was very much Libra South Node. Like, because he was like, well, I understand that if there are not that many black men and they don't want like their respectability thing. Bitch, fuck how they view black men. This man just molested you in public. If you don't motherfucking do it, stick that motherfucking nigga right there. What is wrong with you? I'm a woman, and I can't imagine myself as an adult carrying on in any different way. You just sat up here and sexually assaulted me. Like, okay? But anyway, like I was saying, as an Aries North Node, he does have a karmic responsibility to find his manhood, stand up for himself. He gonna need to, especially given that he's the type to be able to make enemies very easily, okay? Specifically with this Coon shit, these are people who need to learn how to fight in this lifetime physically. Like, if you don't have hands, you might need to start training, okay? But he'll be good because he was an athlete prior to his acting career, which can also be indicated with this Aries North Node, in addition to him being a Leo. But also these are people who, as I said before, need to learn how to find one path, one option, or take one stance and just go with it. Stand on something or you'll fall for anything type of thing. These are people who also have a very karmic responsibility to put themselves first, That's something that they need to learn how to do in this lifetime. And even developing the courage to stand alone at times and not really need the validation of other people. Which, I mean, I guess you can have the argument whether or not him being a coon is doing that, because in a certain way, he is kind of standing out from, he's alienating himself from the Black community. But I don't know. So y'all drop down in the comment section, let me know. Do you feel like he's embodying this Aries North Node or not? Something else I wanted to discuss. Oh, taking it back to the Mercury conjunct Mars at the 26th. Well, his Mars is at the 26th degree, of Cancer. Something funny is that number 26 breaks down to 8, which could definitely, the number 8 can deal with the sellout. I can't make this shit up. Okay. It can make him a corporate ass kisser. And I mean, that Mercury conjunct Mars in and of itself, especially with the Mercury at the 28th degree, which is technically the anaretic degree, which does deal with race as well. But together, this could deal with him in those controversial opinions, right, that he has on race and so on and so forth. Like I said, this could also make him very feminine. And then his Mercury is actually squaring his Saturn, which is in Aries as well, which deals with there being this internal clash that he could experience between his divine feminine and masculine. I would even argue that this aspect could suggest that he uses bodybuilding and sports and all that shit to overcompensate for this surplus of feminine energy he has. And it's also no coincidence that every role that this motherfucker has been in, just about, despite his, masculine exterior, he's very like the femininity jumps out and pops out in these roles. Like he'll, do the titty twerking, and I guess it provides comic relief, because it's like you see this very statuesque, big, swole, busted can of biscuits ass nigga, right? And then he just started doing some like some shit that people would associate with women, like making my way downtown, walking fast, faces passing, I'm homebound. Like what? Huh? Like what? That was my shit on white chicks. I'm not gonna lie. But I just found that to be very, 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 very interesting, because that does mimic this aspect. And like I said, I do feel like he has a complex to where he feels like he has to overcompensate. I understand every person is not gay, but I do have questions in terms of where where he could fall on the spectrum. Obviously, he has a wife, so I don't think he's like gay, but I do have questions in terms of like his sexual attraction. Is he sexually attracted to men? Mm-hmm. I mean, also, that Mars squaring his Saturn in Aries could deal with a book that he even wrote. He wrote a book entitled Manhood, How to Be a Better Man, or Just Live with One. That just live with one can be attributed to can be attributed to that Cancer energy, because that deals with a person's domestic and living arrangement. But then that Aries energy points towards like him trying to instruct insecure that you decided to get the girls together and come out with a book on how to be what you struggling to be, but whatever. Also, his Venus is in Leo as well, and it's squaring his Neptune. That Neptune is Scorpio, which deals with him. I know he spoke about being a sex addict in this particular book, so that aspect points towards that. You can also look at that as him suffering abuse from that Hollywood executive. But it could also even deal with where he could be attracted to trans women, role playing. Okay. I'm getting very much like so in touch with his feminine side that he might even be the type to wear his wife underwear, like putting on makeup himself. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then this could also even produce a grade A philanderer. So I mean, And with that being said, I'm just gonna read the comments. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. You're a Libra moon. Yes, I saw the black supremacy. Il Nana. Hey, baby. I love and support you, Megan. You are indeed the best. I'm going to be in contact with you for a full birth chart reading. You did so well with my first one. Thank you, Tico. I love you. I love you too. Thank you. And just let me know when you're ready. No pressure, no rush. Cause I understand y'all president ain't even gave us our second stimulus checks. But that's a different conversation for a different day. Yes, the chilling circuits. You a boy, Damon. Ooh-wee. Hey, Ali. Heard about 50 Cent and T.I. Yeah, I'm not interested in either one. Like, both of them can hold hands and then walk into traffic. T.I. is a coon. He's a coon. Well, he's a celebrity, so I don't expect that much from them. And I don't either. That's a really good point, Selfmade. A lot of people do. A lot of people really do expect a lot from these celebrities and want to appoint our celebrities as leaders. I also meant to mention, too, with Terry Crews being a Libra South Node, Libra is one of the signs of the activist, and he is really big on like feminism and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. So it can make it easy for these people to try to fill that void. I mean, even look at T.I., he's a Libra. But it's like, bitch, you are nobody's motherfucking Malcolm X. Sit the fuck down. Okay? Same thing with Meek Luther King. You know what I'm saying? Meek Mill. He's a motherfucking Libra South Node, and that's all he want to do. Well, actually, he don't know what he want to do, because one minute he's Meek Luther King, and then the next minute he's talking about snitches and rolling on my wrist. Hold on, bitch. Man, this shit crazy. Like, nigga, shut your ass up. Shut up. Shut up. You've been worrying about Tekashi 6ix9ine, and the world is burning down around you. Read the room, Meek. You are nobody's motherfucking social media, real life activist. You are not my social justice warrior. Anyhow, Leo men are clowns in general. Lilith, of course, there are exceptions. So y'all, I don't want to hear nobody hop in my comments going crazy. That's emasculating for real. It is. It is. I mean, and even with his Mars squaring that Saturn in Aries, you can even look at that as him being, him having his manhood, just like, him being bitch, like somebody just snubbing that shit out. Like, damn. But like I said, I feel like he does have a little complex. I don't know if this existed before the assault or, if it kind of came to be afterwards, but he feels some type of way. Pussy ass. That Mars in Cancer is one of the things I see in many of my trans friends' charts. The expression of masculinity. Yep. And Mars in Cancer can produce a gay man. It produces a lot of times, even in the charts of women, same-sex attraction. It does. That's why I say I know y'all probably think I be thinking everybody gay, but shit, if I cover celebrities 80% of the time, most of these motherfuckers is. So, next. OMG, is that why he married a white woman? Next woman? I don't know. Perhaps. It could, that could deal with him having some, anytime you see that Cancer energy afflicted, go back and look at the reading that I just posted on 50 Cent. And he's as colorist as they come. It usually deals with either colorism, racism, or some wild ass prejudice. Like, my nigga, relax. But at Chiron, the Aries is opposing his, That could also even indicate where he's making enemies too, because of his fuck shit. Definitely insecure, yep. His wife is, they had a reality show, or like, I think, yeah. I'm know I'm not tripping. Y'all let me know if y'all have seen it too, because it was like him, his wife, his kids were on there. Blah, blah, blah. Wow, cancer is a strange placement. It is. Will you do Lil Wayne's birth chart? I will, but not on here, Ali. I do my best to feed you guys, but I'm a do the Lil Wayne reading on Patreon. So if you are not a member, you might need to go ahead and make that happen. I wouldn't be surprised because he's an actor, and with that Neptune and Scorpio, I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing more than pushing the boundaries, though. In Aquarius moon. These men hate themselves more than anything, and that's a Fendi fact. Exactly. A lot of these men are in the entertainment world are gay. Yeah, they do. They do. And I hate to perpetuate that stereotype, but it just is what it is. Yes, I used to watch it. Her name is Rebecca. She's a gospel. Yeah. Okay. So you know what I'm talking about. So I'm just like, okay, interesting. What placements point to ADD, ADHD? Any affliction to Mercury? So like if you want to look for, typically I see, first of all, Gemini somewhere. But if not Gemini, like Gemini in the third house, or Chiron and Gemini, opposing or squaring Mercury or some shit like that. Mercury in negative aspects to Uranus. Mercury in negative aspects to, I would even say Saturn as well. Saturn in Gemini, depending on what it's touching and how it's being afflicted. Moon square Mercury. Moon, I would even say in opposition to Mercury. Learning disabilities, that's right. What are any aspects that determines a learning disability? Yeah, those are some of the learning disabilities. Speaking of learning disabilities, I mean, I wasn't going to cover him tonight, but it seems pretty fitting. Let's talk about Mikiana. Mikiana, buzz down, Mikiana. Meet me up. With Mercury square Uranus make intrusive thoughts, not so much mind over matter. I would say more so like Mercury square Pluto, or Mercury even in opposition to Pluto. Or shit, if we're talking about like Mercury in the 6th house, you know what I'm saying? Afflicted, depending on what it's touching, or Virgo moons. I could tell you about some intrusive thoughts, honey. That Mercury in negative aspects to Uranus can create a person. I would even say, like, and I actually have a video on this, guys. I forgot what it was titled, Mental Disabilities in Astrology or something like that. Y'all go back and check it out. Look through my videos and check it out. But Mercury in negative aspects to Uranus is more so of the person who could fall on the what is it? The autistic spectrum. Not always, obviously, but these are people who could be very awkward, right? They could be very intelligent, like especially when it comes to math and science and shit. But these motherfuckers lack common sense. They can kind of be, at best, it's like, oh, okay, you just weird. Like, you just kind of, like, socially awkward. Like, some kind of off. But in extreme cases, it can literally deal with, like, you having some type of, like, whether it's Asperger's syndrome or whatever, Mercury in negative aspects to Neptune, I noticed, or, like, having Neptune in the 3rd, right? Especially if it's, like, squaring or afflicting a personal planet or something. these are people who could also have issues, and these are more so of your like disassociative type of people. Like they can kind of be very similar to the Uranus affliction. These are people who can be kind of weird. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, these are people, especially like heavy 12th house people. I've met people and done readings for clients who've had heavy 12th house energy, and you can tell, like sun, moon in the 12th house, like 12th house stelliums, and they're weird. Like, they're weird. Oh, but yeah, Mikiana. Back on Mikiana. So in terms of like speaking of being a little slow and delayed, let me go ahead and share his chart, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up the night. That's right, Robin XOP. Your mind is not plugged into reality. Like I said, and you tend to see this configuration in a lot of people who even have some version of schizophrenia, or people who could have schizophrenic tendencies and whatnot. What does Mercury trine Neptune do? That is actually a more favorable aspect. That can make you really creative. I've seen this produce really good handwriting as well. And people who have like kind of sexy talking voices, like speaking voices. It gives me very like Janae Aiko vibes. You know how she sings, she sings, and she's like, I don't know, fuck niggas, hate you niggas. But you're like, damn, this is my shit. She sounds so relaxing. A fucking nigga, I killed a nigga last week. I drowned him in the tub. But I like sunflower. Like it gives me that type of tea. She'd be like, oh, she's snapping. Even if you're not like a singer, these are people who can just have very like soothing voices. Did I study psychology? You know what's funny? I was actually a psychology major. I started off that way in undergrad until I just like switched, because I was like, yeah, nah. Am I finna spend my whole life in school? Nah. Now I kind of wish I would have did it, but yeah. And that's my Mars. I got a Scorpio Mars conjunct my sun. So even though I'm a Sagittarius, a lot of Scorpio shit really, tickles my fancy. Psychology, occult, hence here I am. Astrology, I love all that shit. Okay, so as you can see with Mikiana, let's go actually pull up or look at his the circle graph. So in terms of being slow, delayed, and denied, if you can see here, like so, okay, Mikiana's Mars, he has a Gemini Mars conjunct his Chiron. Now, on one hand, I will say, because that conjunction can yield positive as well as negative qualities. So, positively speaking, this absolutely contributes to what? Because it's a lot of the same people in my chat, and I'm always talking about this when I'm talking about a certain type of person. What is this Gemini Mars conjunct Chiron responsible for as it pertains to Meek Mill? Y'all tell me. Y'all tell me. Let me take a look. You love being a Scorpio. What Terry got going on now? You missed it. We've already covered Mr. Making My Way Downtown. Woo! All right, I went got some water. But yeah, you late, truth teller. You said he can't fight. Well, yeah, that can because typically that Mars and Gemini can make a good fighter, but with Chiron, you might. Did y'all see him? It was a video of him punching like like them little boxing bags. I'm like, oh, look at them little arms. Them little paraplegic arms. Well, actually, paraplegic arms be strong as fuck because they be rolling themselves in the wheelchair. But you know what I mean. His arms look like little. His arms look like antelope legs. Okay, so Mars conjunct Chiron and Gemini. What does this deal with in terms of Meek Mill though? What is like the biggest explanation? Like what does this contribute to? How is this most apparent in who he is? Well, there are two acceptable answers that I'll take, and I don't see now one of them in the chat. Okay, I see one, talks a lot of shit. Okay, and the second one is him being a rapper. Y'all know I'm always talking about that Gemini, and specifically battle rap. Okay, back when he had the motherfucking Omar Epps cornrows. I mean, not Omar Epps, Shamar Moore cornrows from Medea's family reunion. Y'all remember? I'm always associating that Gemini energy with battle rap. And you see this in the charts of a lot of rappers who are very witty. That's that Gemini energy, right? They're very like on their toes, and these people make excellent sparring partners when it comes to either roasting, off the cuff, rapping, all that stuff. You can even look at this as him being Twitter fingers as well, not knowing when to shut the fuck up. And it's literally fingers because Gemini deals with the hand. So you can literally look at this as him. And Mars deals with your name. So his Gemini Mars conjunct Chiron, right, deals with him literally earning the name Twitter fingers. You can't make this shit up. But yeah. And what I wanted, the bigger kind of overarching theme that I wanted to point to in terms of this aspect, this can point to where I said Little Meek. Little Meek is kind of slow. Like, I would not be surprised if he rode the short bus in school, if he, I don't know, like if he, he just gives me like, he's a few French fries short of a Happy Meal type of tea. He could have even had a speech impediment growing up or something like that, or like a learning. And y'all were just asking about certain placements and aspects that could point towards learning disorders. Like I was saying, anytime you see this either Mercury, like afflicted Mercury energy or Gemini energy, that could absolutely be one of the biggest indicators of somebody who can have a learning disability, speech impediment, learning disorder, behavioral disorder. This is the ADD, HADD, ABCD, whatever the fuck. He could have been bad as fuck. It could have been a behavioral disorder. He could have been one of them kids, like one of those IEP students. And it's so funny because every time I hop on social media, people are like, is he slow? He might be a little mental health. He might be a little slow. A little slow. Yeah, he did have them Shamar Moore cornrows, didn't he? His cornrows and all that damn new growth in the middle. I'm like, you could start a whole brand new braid. Just braiding the new growth. Nigga, get what the fuck? She said, damn, what did Meek do? He said he had the ladies handling schoolwork for him. He probably did. because he couldn't do it. He probably was like on some like R. Kelly shit, like I don't know how to read. But not for nothing, that can even give him like a really, like I said, popping ass mouthpiece, like to where he is very, what's the word? Persuasive. What else did I want to talk about in terms of him? Because I mean, we were talking about people being you know, a little delayed. So I thought that that would be. Hold on. How's the sex game? He could have some type of erectile dysfunction with this Chiron conjunct his Mars. That's what I'm getting. I think him and NBA. Oh, you know NBA YoungBoy a crack baby or something. Like, have you seen his mama, bruh? She doesn't give me the type to take her multinatal, via her prenatal vitamins and shit and drink water during her pregnancy. She gives me like I'm making some risky ass decisions with child. With child. Meat Mill is stupid as fuck. He always reacting to shit. Then say, I didn't know. But smoke on it. Okay, so let's get into that. Let's get into that. Him always like reacting to stuff and then not even knowing what the fuck he's talking about. So you guys had it correct. Given that, you know, in part, a lot of this could have to do with him being or having that Mars conjunct Mercury. Or excuse me, Mars conjunct Mercury. Mars conjunct Chiron in Gemini. But also, hold on, let me pull up because I actually wrote some shit down that I wanted to address. Okay, so he's also an Aries South node. I mean, excuse me, a Libra South node. So very similar to this Terry Crews bullshit. Where he is, but for Mikiana, I feel like he does a better job at embodying a lot more of that Aries North node because he does have his Venus at the 16th degree, okay, conjunct his North node. So it kind of gives him this. It's why he shows up in the world a lot more combative than your stereotypical Libra South node. It could also even deal with him attracting a lot of, once again, violence and enemies to him. You can even look at that opposition between his Venus, you know, opposing his Libra South node as him even getting beaten the fuck up by the police. Because I think that's what happened when he ended up catching his case when he was 18, right? Actually, he might have been 17 at the time, or not 17, but actually maybe, well, hold on. At the 16th degree. Something big could have happened when he was 16 too, though. But nonetheless, right, point is that deals with him getting beat the fuck up by the police. It could also even deal with him being the type to attract a lot of fights and, you know, him being the type to collect guns and knives and shit. And I think that's why he got arrested in the first place. But that's very Aries North node of him. Conjunct Venus, and it can give him a lot of temper problems. Another manifestation of that too is him being very reactive. So this absolutely deals with him being very impulsive when it comes to things and shooting from the hip first and asking questions later, right? Hopping online and being like, nah, man, so let me tell you about this and that. And then people be like, oh, shut up, Mikiana. And then he'd be like, okay, well, I'm just saying, I ain't know. Like, okay, well, what did we learn today? Shut the fuck up. You know, that Aries North node could also make him very defensive too. And even if, I don't know if y'all remember when Trey Songz was challenging everybody to like feed the hungry or some shit, or like stand up for their community, and then he tagged Mikiana, and then Meek was like, what you trying to say? Like, I don't even know what you talking about. Like, but you just fucked up the whole vibe. Like, Trey Songz was not personally trying to attack you, bitch. But that's very much him acting out that Venus conjunct Aries North node. Like always on the defense, always looking like, huh? What happened? Who said that? What had happened? Like, relax. Relax. It's okay. Just chill. Let's see what else. Also, hold on. How did this? Oh, something else I also want to mention too, with him being born on the 6th. This makes him very much bitch made, very similar to 50 Cent. 50 Cent is a number 6 individual too. And it does give them a very feminist, I was going to say feministic, Lord, I'm talking like Meat Meal tonight, feminine type of quality. Not necessarily in the way that they dress or appear, but just in their temperament, right? And the way that they interact and deal with other people. It's very female-like, and it doesn't help that 50 Cent has so much Cancer energy. Hold on, let me take a drink of my water. But with Mikiana, like I said, that number 6 just makes him a little girly. And I know people be saying stuff like every time he pop off, like, my nigga, is you on your period or what? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, he has a lot of feminine qualities with this number 6. Also, he's a Taurus sun with his sun conjunct Mercury. That deals with him being very closed-minded as well. He has a lot of misogynistic energy in his chart. He just does. Okay, this Taurus energy. He's a Leo moon. Like I was telling you guys, that Leo energy can be very misogynistic. So this could even deal with why he just gives me like a ain't shit nigga tea. But taking it back to that sun conjunct Mercury, this could deal with him financially supporting siblings and relatives. It can also make him very materialistic, which is like why he's always rapping about his rollie on my wrist. No, I got this, I got that. Like, okay, we get it. That's very Taurus. It can also make him very jealous spirited, especially with his sun and Mercury in opposition to his Pluto. Mika's a hater. This aspect in and of itself can create a hater, a person who, can covet something that someone else has, or just like I said, be very jealous spirited, especially when it comes to things that they feel like they own, right? And they could even take that approach when it comes to really everyone in their lives. Like, this is mine. And if you pushing up on mine, I got a problem. Even because I remember, I'm not gonna lie, I do watch my radio because sometimes, I guess I don't agree with everybody all the time, but like I will say she does really good investigative work. And she brought up certain tweets that he had put out when he was with Nicki Minaj, and he was like basically checking her, like, and she would say stuff like, babe, can I take a picture with such and such? Oh, my man wouldn't. Like, he's very possessive. That's very dark-sided Taurus, very controlling. And taking it back to him being a Libra South node, this deals with him having that big old court case, being a wannabe activist, him having so many run-ins with the law. It also even points to where he could be too dependent on the other people. Or on other people, rather. You could look at this even in terms of like him being attached to Maybach music, right? Now he done hitched his wagon to Jay-Z, and just like, nigga, just stop with all the politicking and do you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so there's that. It could also even deal with where he could be a womanizer, a lover boy. And this could also even point to a underlying sense of inferiority where he tends to compare himself to other people. It could also even deal with where, very similarly to what I was pointing out in terms of Terry Crews, Meek Mill being very big on like fairness, but in a sense to where in Meek's case, it comes across as a petty type of thing. Like, well, when I did this, y'all was mad, but he get away with doing this. That it gives me very like I said, hater ass bitch energy. Like, Okay, so I wrote my rap, so what you mean to tell me that such and such he ain't wrote? Like, and even taking it back to the legality of it all, I think somebody's suing him for plagiarism, which is like, won't you look at that? Would you look at that? So, it is what it is. Let me see. Oh, and actually, now that I'm thinking about it, hold on, because he got Neptune squaring the nodes. Let me see what else his Neptune is doing. Mikiana. Yeah, squaring his north node. But it was something else. It must be a minor aspect. Pluto, ascendant. It was something. But anywho, yeah. So there's that. But that Neptune squaring his nose can't even deal with him popping pills and shit, which he admitted he did. Something else I wanted to... Oh, and also that Libra South Node can make him very petty as well. Somebody who, as I stated, can get off on going back and forth with people, having the last word, pointing out the mistakes of others. Now, his Sun conjunct Mercury, taking it back to that, given that it is opposing his Pluto at the 8th degree of Scorpio, that could even deal with him being mean and bitter as well. But also, this could point towards the death of his father. I think his father died during a robbery. So this could definitely be that Sun in opposition to Pluto. It could also even deal with he's involved in crime himself, or he obtains money in illegal ways. Probably not now. Or maybe now, I don't know. But definitely probably before he got famous. He could also experience custody issues. I also see him paying a lot of money in child support. Let's see. This could also even deal with him having a lot of debt issues with the IRS, which makes me wonder why this motherfucker even sold his... That's funny. And Mercury in opposition Pluto can create a person who has a lot of debt, like who has issues paying off their vehicle. Didn't he sell his car or something? And he made it seem like he was doing it for an altruistic purpose or something like that. Yeah, nah, nigga. He had to get rid of that shit because it was costing him money. Anywho, this could also even deal with him having a very abusive relationship with his siblings, which I believe Nicki Minaj said something about, and this is something that did not get a lot of coverage, obviously, but she had said something to the effect of like, oh, you hit me, you beat on me, which I can believe, once again, with that Venus conjunct Aries North Node. But she was like, you beat on me, you hit me, and you beat your sister up. And you spat on her and you recorded it. And I'm like, this nigga out here beating up his sister. But with that Mercury in opposition to his that Pluto in Scorpio, he could definitely hate his sister. They could have like a very intense relationship. Very much like it gives me very accusatory tease where they're always at each other's throats. They could be rivals. So that's kind of interesting. But interestingly enough, I also get that he financially does take care of his family with this aspect. So maybe he views her as a leech or something. I don't know. But it also just reinforces this theme of him being very, very controlling. Very, very controlling. Let's see what... and I also meant to mention his Venus is conjunct his Jupiter. So that's in Aries as well, along with that Aries North Node. And it just reinforces this theme of him, because you got to think about what Jupiter represents as a planet, right? Jupiter, a lot of people associate it with positivity and truth. Most astrologers do that. Like, it's altruistic and it represents hope and love of the slave. Like, okay, that's true. But especially when placed in Aries, bro, this is the quintessential placement for a person who writes a check they ass can't cash. Like, people who bite off more than they can chew, or people who just kind of, like I was saying, him always being on go, but like even you can look at this as him jumping to conclusions, right? And doing stuff to make himself look stupid. Like, and it just him getting egg on his face more often than not. It can also even deal with him being reckless, irresponsible, and like I said, just really increase this this tendency for him to have a really bad temper. So like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a very violent relationship with women. Same thing with that Leo moon. And I would argue that it goes both ways, because I don't get that like the women that he deals with are the type of women to be in the corner like, oh, please don't hit me. Not saying it's right. A man should never hit a woman, but think about Nicki Minaj, right? It gives me very much like we fighting type of tea. Like, yeah, nigga, get out of my face, nigga. I'm gonna whoop your ass, nigga. And then he be like, and then he hit her, and then she hit him back, and then he beat her up. Like, well, once again, I've seen this man punch, and it's just like, I guess he's gonna win every time because he's a man, but you know, whatever. Also, his Mars and Chiron, before I go ahead and close out Miss Mikiana, his Mars conjunct Chiron in Gemini is opposing his Saturn in Sagittarius, which is another aspect that points towards him being like a person that talks way too much, exposing people, but doing so to the point where like the truth, he may be telling the truth, but the truth comes back to bite him in the ass. Think about the whole thing of him saying like, oh, yeah, Drake doesn't even write his raps. Okay, that may have been true, but number one, it could deal with him having ulterior motives saying that, right? With that Gemini energy being very duplicit. But at the same time, okay, it may have been true, but niggas was like, they really didn't even pay attention to that. They was like, I know you ain't talking. Shut your ass up. Like, and it was like, damn. So a lot of times with this aspect, people, even if they are telling the truth about something, it costs them. It costs them running their mouths. It'll cost them big time. So Cassidy, bro, I just seen a video, not a video, it's a picture of Cassidy looking like a customer instead of a hustler. And I ain't been right ever since. I don't know what sign Milan is. All I know is she looks scary without makeup. It seems a little, that's something I'll look into. And thank you for I got a Cashapp. Hold on. Thank you. I don't want to say, I don't know if you want me to say her name. I'm just not. But thank you, baby. I appreciate that so much. Meet goofy frog, not a goofy frog looking ass. He gives me very abusive tea. I just saw my chart, my Uranus in opposition to Lilith. What does that mean? That you kinky and freaky and shit? But I've also seen this produce people who can abstain from sex for a very long time, or like who are very, what you call it, who have like asexual kind of tendencies. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and close it on out. I'm tired, y'all. I ain't got it in me to do a 50-hour live tonight, but I do appreciate you for coming out. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Share this video with a friend. If you are watching the playback, congratulations, you've reached the end. Drop down in the comment section. Let me know what you thought, or give me your opinions on all of these subjects at hand. I will do my best to what do you call it? Mark the what do you call it? Like when you label the different time segments on the screen. My brain can't function right now, so I'm feeling very Mikiana right now. So y'all make sure y'all take care. I love you guys. I thank you guys for the cash apps. I thank you guys for joining me in the chat. I love y'all as always, of course. And yeah, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until the next video, I holla. Bye.